We got Browns news to talk about. Um, Not really news, more like some comments that we got that we can wildly speculate about. And that's what we do on the internet. We wildly speculate. So let's not beat around it. Let's get right into it. Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam yesterday had a press conference and talked about he and D Haslam were the driving force between getting Deshaun Watson to Cleveland. And he said that trade, that transaction, that decision was a swing and a miss. It was a mistake. Um, and that's official. That's official from the head man, from the head man in charge. That that's wild. That's wild to think about. Very interesting, very noteworthy that Jimmy Haslam came out and said basically took accountability for making that trade. And it's also interesting that he's saying that while said player is still on the roster, um, technically, technically still on the roster. Um, but yeah, I can't really think of an owner or an ownership situation that I can remember that took accountability for a trade like this. Um, I mean, also there's not been a lot of trades that have been this bad and worked out this poorly, this spectacularly poorly. Um, so there's that part of it too. But um, just to hear him say that it was on ownership and that it was their mistake, it was their fault, and that they realized that going forward, actually gives me a lot of hope for the Browns' future. Um, because you never see this in the NFL like publicly taking accountability like this. So I'm actually very encouraged for the Browns' future, which is not something I was prepared to say after knowing Jimmy Haslam stepped to the microphone. That was never no that was never something I would have thought I would have said because of him. Um, but yeah, here we are. Um, so what? So another thing that means is to everybody that may have still been holding out hope or were thinking that the Browns had something else in mind. Um, yeah, Deshaun Watson is technically a Brown, but he'll never step foot on the field for them again. Um, that's that's basically confirmed now. The owner went out in public and said, "Yeah, it was a mistake. We we tried, it didn't work, and it was a mistake, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to look for a quarterback." That pretty much is signed, sealed, delivered, pink slip for Deshaun Watson as soon as it becomes financially financially reasonable to do. Um, they can't cut him now. Um, I don't know if they can. I don't know what the cap situation is. They might be able to post June 1st cut him next year in 2026. It may be better just to let the contract expire. Um, I don't know what the best case scenario for it is. But as far as actually playing football is concerned, Deshaun Watson will never play football for the Cleveland Browns ever again. And for most of us, we already knew that. We're okay with that. We knew that. But for the small percentage of folks that were out there that thought that he might play, um, wanted him to play for the Browns again, or thought the Browns were just that bad of an organization that they would trot him out there again. That's been disproven. That's been disproven. Um, so going off that, it pretty much, at least, I don't want to speak too ahead of myself, but at least for 2025, um, Andrew Barry and Kevin Stefanski are good. They're good. Um, they they don't have to. So we got into some more of Jimmy's comments, and Jimmy just, Andrew Barry and Kevin, they were always this whole off-season draft process gonna give a lot of coach speak, be diplomatic. Um, if they're talking about any of the prospects, they're gonna speak glowingly, and it feels like Jimmy just came out and told the plan. Like Jimmy just spilled the beans of what they plan to do. And Jimmy said if if they don't if they don't like the quarterbacks that are available when they pick, then they're not picking one. They'll wait for next year or maybe even 2 years from now. That's important. That is important to hear. That is groundbreaking information that they would wait up to 2 years to get a quarterback because like everybody talks about this draft class. Nobody likes the quarterbacks. Okay, fine. Next year, I personally look at next year and there's like a couple of guys that I'm interested in, but but they need to show and prove that they're first round caliber quarterbacks. Um, I personally like. I want to see Cade Klubnik and I want to see Lenore Sellers. I want to see how they progress, how they perform with expectations. Like Klubnik had high expectations coming into Clemson. His freshman and sophomore year didn't go the ways that we thought they would. So going in his junior year, there weren't there weren't that big of expectations for him. But they got killed week one against Georgia, and then after that, Klubnik took off. Klubnik was balling all year. Um, Now we need to see if that was real. And I think he's going to show, at least his numbers that he's going to put up are going to be very good because they're basically bringing that whole team back for another year at Clemson. So I'm interested to see what Cade Klubnik looks like. The other one I'm interested in, Lenore Sellers. He's just athletic, big, huge quarterback. Um, I really like him at South Carolina. Just want to see if he can make a leap, get consistent, and see what he does also this year. But those are the two guys I'm really interested in. Don't talk to me about Drew Aller. He's he I'm he's gonna have to do something completely out of character for me to be a fan of his. Um, Nico from Tennessee, we we expected big things. He was a five star recruit, was the NIL like originator. Um, we'll see. It hasn't worked yet, but we'll see. But that's 2026. 2026 quarterbacks. There's a lot of we got to see. We'll see. Um, but it's a lot of toolsy guys. A lot of the guys have like Cam Ward has the tools of these guys that we see in 2026 with the big frames, with the big arms, can run a little bit. Those are the guys that we see in 2026. A lot of projecting with those guys in 2026. Um, and if the Browns are willing to wait, then it's I was always hesitant because that could be a gamble. Like maybe none of these guys pan out. Maybe if Drew Aller is the number one overall quarterback in the class next year, people will be happy. Oh, he's from Cleveland. Oh, he wants to be here. But I've seen him melt down on the big stages way too much. His numbers are excellent against the majority of the teams that he plays, but when he's playing against the Notre Dames and the Ohio States, it's not good. It's not very good. Um, and it's not like his team can't hang. Like his team is good enough to hang with those teams. Like his performance shouldn't be affected that much by quality of competition. Um, there's other guys, um, and I know I always bring him up, but Shador Sanders, he's a guy when he plays better competition, his numbers look worse because the rest of his team is also playing better competition. His offensive line is playing better competition. So in turn, that's going to affect his game. But for Drew Aller, when his team plays better competition, his team is better suited to play better competition. Penn State is a top 10, top 8 program in the nation. um, they always put out O linemen into the draft. They always like we're talking about Abdul Carter coming from Penn State that the Browns should take at number 2. Like Penn State, Penn State routinely has these guys. His teams, like his play, should not be affected by playing up in competition. But I'm on a tangent now. But that's 2026. That like it I think it might be a gamble if they wanted to wait specifically for 2026 to get a quarterback, because the chosen one, the heir apparent, Eric Arch Manning, isn't coming in 2026. I think he's coming 2027 at the earliest. And the fact that Jimmy said we would possibly be willing to wait 2 years really indicates that that they really have their scouting hats on and they know the deal and they know everything that's coming down the pipeline. Um, because 2027, 2027 is the class that the world is waiting for. 2027 has all type of talent in it. Like the quarterbacks, you got Dylan Raiola. If he continues the track that he's on, he's he's locked and loaded. Like top 5 pick. DJ Lagway. If Lenore Sellers doesn't do it next year, but in 2 years he should be the finished product and he should be one of those guys. Um, and then plus Arch Manning. And a lot of people are talking about Arch Manning. It's funny because so many people, when Arch was a senior, when Arch was a junior and sophomore, people were like, "Oh, he's just getting he's only getting notoriety because his last name is Manning. He's not that good. Look at the competition he's playing." And now these NFL fans are wanting to hitch their wagon to him, and they've seen him play maybe 10 like 10 games, maybe like 8 games worth of snaps. Like um it's funny how that works. But um the fact that Jimmy Haslam said that they're willing to wait up to 2 years to figure the quarterback out because they know they have to get the quarterback right, um is very telling and very forward thinking from a guy that I would not consider to be forward thinking. I consider that from Andrew Barry, and I might consider that from Kevin Stefanski, but I would have never considered Jimmy Haslam a forward thinking guy. And that really bodes well for um for the future of the Cleveland Browns. Now, going further, the fact that they said they would wait on the quarterback means if you're reading in between the lines, it means we want Cam Ward. If Cam Ward isn't there, we're not taking the quarterback at two. So it feels like the Shador at two dream is dead. Um, unless there's smoke screening, but I don't consider Jimmy Haslam capable of smoke screening in press conferences. I think he just goes out there and basically tells it how it is. So I'm going to take his word for it. And the fact that they're thinking about waiting multiple years for a quarterback, if it's not Cam Ward, they're not taking him. So that leaves it up to Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter at two. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but it looks like that it's gaining a lot of momentum that the Browns want to take Travis Hunter at two over Abdul Carter. And personally, if I had to pick between the two, Travis Hunter is who I would take. Yeah, if I'm the Browns, I'm taking Travis Hunter with that pick. For a team that's as analytics driven as the Browns are, basically having two players in one roster spot should be a dream come true. Should be a dream come true for any team, but um but I think Travis's skill set is kind of an acquired taste. Is going to take it's going to take some creativity from your front office and head coach to be able to maximize his talent. Um there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, stick him at corner and have a package of plays for him on offense." And while yeah, that is the prototypical blueprint if you have somebody that can play both ways. Um, I think if you were to just full time defense and 10 plays on offense with Travis Hunter, I think you're doing a disservice to Travis and to yourself if you take him at two. Because I think his value at two overall is that he can play an abnormal amount of plays at both these spots. Now, I'm not I'm not silly enough to think that he could play 100% 100% and 100% offense defense. I'm not silly enough to think that. Um but what I do think is I think you get the most bang for your buck with Travis Hunter is if he's primarily an offensive player. There's a lot of debate in on the on in the draft space, in the football spaces, like everybody talking about Travis Hunter. There's a lot of there's a lot of disagreement in between if you think he's primarily a defensive back or primarily a wide receiver. I tend to believe that he's primarily a wide receiver because the things that I've seen him do at wide receiver, I like not a lot of people can do that. His like the traits that make him a great wide receiver prospect also are the things that make him a great corner prospect. So it's like really you can't go wrong either way. Um, but I think you have more ability to get more bang for your buck at receiver. He's gonna get you first downs. He's gonna get you touchdowns. He's gonna be a weapon in the red zone. If he's on defense, if if you have him outside corner, like you could just choose to not throw at him. You could choose to not throw at him. Um and that is impacting in of itself, but it's not a turnover. Like it's not tackles for loss. It's not pass defended. Like it's not showing up in the stat sheet, but like it is very good. Um, but like I said, you can't really go wrong either way. But what I'm getting at essentially is he needs to be playing a lot of snaps both ways. And obviously there's not a lot of prospects you've ever been able to say that about because there really hasn't been we haven't seen anything like this. We have not seen full time both ways. And I think not even like you don't even owe it to Travis. You owe it to yourself as an organization to at least try to have him play as many snaps both ways as you can. I think you owe it to yourself as an organization because like this like what if he can? The assumption is that he can't. And I think conventional wisdom would be that he cannot play 100% of snaps both ways. But what if he could? You know what I'm saying? What if he could? So I think you owe it to yourself to attempt it. Now, if I was the Browns and I wanted to put that plan in place, um I like he's playing zero special teams reps. He like wouldn't know what special teams meant. Like no kickoff, punt return, punt block, punt safe, uh nothing. Um he like zero extra. Like zero extra special teams plays at all. I know sometimes like coaches like want you to maybe play one special team, depending on your position, how much you play, whatever. But he's playing zero special teams. He's going to be my wide receiver one or wide receiver two to Jerry Judy, depending on how you look at it. But he is going to be he's going to be one of the two wide receivers always out there. And the Browns have corners. They have corners on this team that are very good corners. Um so that is less of a need in itself. But I think the best way you can maximize him is to play him on offense as much as you can. And then on defense, I'm thinking like what if you didn't bring him in on defense until the opposing team like got to their own 40 or like maybe cross midfield. If you just had him play defense in in his own territory, like in your own territory from like the 50 to the end zone, like do you do that? Like is that feasible? I feel like it is, but game plan wise maybe it's not. Or just like you somebody should formulate a real plan. You should take him at two, formulate a real plan as to what you want him to be doing, but it needs to be a lot of both. It needs to be a lot of offense and defense because I really think he can make an impact both ways, and that is not something you have ever been able to say for for truly anybody the way you can for him. Now the next Browns thing, um, not too much to say really, but Kirk Cousins is has to be coming, right? Pause. He has to be coming to Cleveland, right? He has to be coming to Cleveland because why? Why is he hanging around Chipotle's in Westlake? Um, Seems like he's house shopping. Um, because somebody on the internet said he did that in Atlanta before he got to Atlanta. So we're just going in circles until something happens. Maybe they wait until the draft, until after the draft, and or maybe they go. I'm thinking like this is my theory. I'm thinking that day one of the draft happens, and when Kirk sees that the Browns don't take Shador Sanders at 2, that's when he'll be like, okay, I'm waiving the no trade. Let's get it done. And then they'll go to work after day one is over. Before day two starts, Kirk Cousins will be a Brown. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. That's what makes sense to me at this point. Um, but we'll see. I don't really have much else on Kirk Cousins, but other than he has to be coming to Cleveland this offseason at some point. So we'll see. Paige Beckers, Paige Buckets, whatever you want to call her the best in the world. Call her easily the best player in women's college basketball. Respect to Juju Watkins. She's probably player of the year this year. Um, get well soon. All respect to Juju, but I've been on this train. I've been on this train since 2020. Like, is she's she's that deal. She's the one. She's the chosen one. She's the one that was on the covers of Slam magazine in high school. Like she's been that one. She's been that deal. She's been buckets forever. Um, UConn got it done last night. They're in the Final Four for the 24th straight time, or or not. Sorry, not 24 straight. 24th time in their history, which is insane. Um, but yeah, UConn is a 2 seed, the only 2 seed left in the women's tournament, left in both tournaments, but they're the favorite. I'm rocking with UConn. And last night was a great win. USC didn't give up. I knew they would play hard even without Juju. Um, but they made it. They kept it close. They kept it close up until the start of the fourth quarter, and then Azzy Fudd took off. She was struggling, but she kept through it. She kept shooting. She shot through the slump, and took off in the fourth quarter. Paige did all the Paige things. She's dropping threes, making passes like on one knee. Sarah Strong is a problem as a freshman. Um, the rest of the country gonna have something to deal with her for 3 more years. And I'm rocking with UConn up until up until the end, and they're gonna go ahead and get this national championship, put them back where they need to be. And our girl, our girl's gonna be at the forefront of it. She's gonna be holding that trophy with the confetti coming down. So shout out to her. Shout out to her. So had to get that in there. But yeah, um, that's all we got for today. Um, we'll see. Got a lot of good Brown speculation going, but um, draft is coming. Draft is about 3 weeks away, give or take a couple days, but draft is coming, getting closer. I can't wait for it to be here, but yeah, until the next time, we'll see you.